So hey guys, I just ended the video before this that you guys will be seeing, I promise, before this one, and then I'll upload this one. But, so this one is going to be about my labor and delivery because I know you guys like to hear that stuff, right? So this is the day I had my son. That's what I looked like. I don't have any pictures really of me before then because I hated taking pictures, especially of my stomach, because people would judge, and people's judgments are rough on me, okay? I say it doesn't bother me, but in reality, actually, sometimes it really does, and it actually hurts my feelings. And I try not to let it, and I know it's bad to let it bother you and stuff like that, but I can't help it, okay? So before I had my son, I was 85 pounds, and then I got up to 115, which is 30 pounds, right? 95, 105, yeah. So that's 30 pounds. So I gained all that, and then right after I had him, like, so right after I had him, I went down to 90 pounds. It was all baby and amniotic fluid. And then after a week or two, I was back down to 85. I don't know how I did it, so don't ask me in the comments or anything. But I just pretty much ate like I normally would. I have a fast metabolism, and it was really easy to gain weight during my pregnancy, but now I can't gain weight at all. Like, I fluctuate, like, it goes up and goes down, and it never really stays the same, to be honest, but we all manage, right? Manage. That was my word, okay? So in the hospital, my word was manage. Management, actually. So, I don't even know how that word came up, but in the hospital. So, I had a doctor's appointment Tuesday, February 12th, and we did, what is it called? NST, which is, isn't it NST? Non-stress test, so yes, an NST. And so I went in, and then after that, he was doing good. And then, I had my doctor's appointment. Well, no, I had an ultrasound. So, did I? Yeah, I had an ultrasound. No, I didn't. The ultrasound was the Friday before, I think. I don't even know. Yeah, it was the Friday before. So I had my doctor's appointment with one of my doctors, and she checked me. I was only dilated to half a centimeter, so if I wanted to have my son on the 13th, I couldn't. She said, well, it's best if you go in tonight because it's a 12-hour thing to get your cervical ripening. And I looked at my son's dad, and I looked at my grandma, and I was like, okay, well, do you guys want me to go in tonight? And Evan said, well, I'll stay with you. I was like, well, that's good, because I wasn't going by myself, for one. That's crazy. And my grandma said, yeah, that's fine. I mean, if you have to, you can. Just call me if you need anything, and if anything happens. Well, the cervical ripening only dilated me another half a centimeter, and so it was, I had to start the Pitocin in the middle of the night. Wait, did I start it? No, they had to give me fluids because I was having these really bad contractions, and it started at 2 in the morning. But really, I was having them every once in a while before I was feeling the pain and stuff, and I said I wasn't because it wasn't even that bad and I could tolerate it. Well, 2 a.m. came around, and I was getting to where I couldn't tolerate it. And I waited 2 hours to do anything about it, so I got fentanyl 4. And the fentanyl put me to sleep for about 30 minutes or an hour. And then at 5 o'clock, I got some more, and I went back to sleep. 6 a.m. came around, and I decided no more. I was just going to deal with the pain. Well, 7 a.m., my grandparents came. My sister came to see me. And I got up. I sat on this little peanut ball to help with the contractions. Well, no, they made it worse. And come to find out, or no, 6:30, my grandma was there. So I guess 6, they came in, visit, or stayed with me. So 6:30 came around, and actually this made my stomach hurt talking about it. So 6:30, my doctor came in, and she broke my water. And so I went, no, she came in at 7:30, my bad. So my grandma came at 7. My doctor came, and then my grandpa and my sister stayed in the room with me for 30 minutes, and then they left, and my boy, or Evan, my son's dad, came in, and his mom came in, and then my doctor came in and said, "Can I have everyone leave besides one person?" I looked at my grandma and said, "Please stand here." And my son's dad and his mom, I don't really know what to refer him as. So my son's dad and his mom went out in the hallway for a little bit, and she broke my water, and oh my god, did that hurt. It wasn't no little pressure like they say it is, so don't let them lie to you. But I wouldn't say it was the worst pain ever. So, actually, she broke my water at 6:30. My grandma had to be there, because I got my epidural at 7:30. So 6:30 came around, she broke my water. 7:30, I got my epidural, and I kicked my son's dad and his mom out again because I wanted my grandma to be there. And right before I had the epidural, I got some fentanyl. That way I wouldn't feel the needle going into my back, because I have this really big fear of needles. And yes, I had to get the IV right here on my arm, and I actually have a little scar right there, okay? And I have scars, two here, one on each side here, from when the certified nurse's assistant, when she tried to put the IV in and she couldn't because my veins kept moving on my right arm, and plus she was going onto bones. So the nurse, she was there actually the day I had him. She came back the next night. So I went in on Tuesday. I had him on Wednesday. So Tuesday night, that nurse, she's like, "If you're still here tomorrow night, whenever I come back, I'm going to be your nurse, I promise." I said, "Okay, thank you," because really, I liked her, and I didn't want her to go because she understood me, and she helped me through a lot. Yeah, she was kind of rude at first, but I'm pretty sure she walked it right into a labor. But, so I got the epidural at 7:30, and you can't do anything after you have it, so I didn't feel anything, and I kept saying I had to pee. Well, after you have an epidural, guys, you get a catheter, so I still felt the urge that I had to pee, and I was really concerned why I felt that urge, and I don't even want to know. And so, if you don't have to have a catheter and you don't need an epidural, then don't get it, because actually it still hurts a couple weeks after you have your kid, to be honest, once they take that catheter out. But, actually, to be honest, it hurts months after, because mine just stopped hurting a couple months ago, like 2 months ago, just saying. I had 3 catheters in. So I had a catheter for urine. I had a catheter to give my son water because around, I would say a couple hours after I wasn't dilating very fast, they had to give my son fluids because she broke my water and yeah. A baby can't go long without fluids because that's how they're surviving, and they didn't want him to suffocate, so they gave him fluids. And then I had a catheter for contractions. Well, as soon as she gave me the catheter, I felt the catheter for the contractions, by the way, guys. So once she gave me that, I started feeling the contractions too. So if you don't need that and you can have your baby soon, I know it's hard to make yourself dilate and you really can't do it, so I wouldn't really get that catheter to monitor the contractions better than the monitor that goes on your stomach. The monitor that went on my stomach wasn't monitoring the right contractions because I was getting dehydrated, even though I had fluids going into my IV and Pitocin. So they had to shut the Pitocin off because my contractions were getting so bad and so strong. I couldn't feel them in my stomach, but I could feel them in my lower stomach and him dropping. But his heart rate dropped super fast once she did the catheter for contractions. And after she did that, she found out his heart rate dropped super fast. Well, that's a good thing that they did that because I could have lost him. But my son's dad, he walks out of the room to go and talks to his mom and for a little bit, and then he comes back. And whenever he's coming back, all these nurses are running in, and they had a friend in there, and they kicked her out. And Evan was doing something, or he was talking to his mom, and my sister had left or something, and they were rushing nurses in because, well, they didn't even know what was happening, if I was okay or not. They gave me oxygen. Don't get me wrong, I love that oxygen. But he thought I was dying, and I actually, to be honest, you all want to know a secret? I was so high out of my mind. I don't even know. Like, I could barely function. Like, I wasn't even worried about anything. Like, honestly, I was like, if I'm gonna die, just let me die. I don't even know what was going through my mind or why it was going through my mind. And I honestly don't want to know. I guess because I figured if I was gonna die or I was going to die, or if I was supposed to die, I was in a hospital already. But, so, so most of the time you're supposed to what side? Oh, your left side. You should always lay on your left side. Well, throughout my whole pregnancy, I laid on my right side. So, whenever his heart rate dropped, they tried to roll me to my left side. Well, that didn't work. He doesn't like the left side. I found that out. And so they rolled me to my right side. His heart rate went back up. He's like, I just want you to lay on your right side. Well, guys, I couldn't roll over. I had no feeling at all in my body. Like, I thought I couldn't even pick up my phone. I had no feeling at all. But when they gave me the oxygen, don't get me wrong, this is going to sound really rude, and I'm sorry if you're watching this, you'll probably know who you are. But when one of my friends, she was in the room, and she wouldn't stop talking. It was like all about her, and it was rough, okay? I was getting so annoyed, and I don't even know why I was getting annoyed. I think it was just so much going on at one time. My body just, I don't know, it was just getting out of control. And so whenever they got his heart rate back up, they were like, do you want me to take the oxygen back? I'm like, nope. And I went back to sleep. I went to sleep. It put me to sleep. It felt so nice. It was like a 30-minute nap. And by the time I woke up, my friend was leaving. And no offense, I was glad because throughout my whole entire sleep, I wasn't in a deep sleep. I could hear everything that was going on around me and everything, but no, I couldn't feel the contractions. So whenever my friend left, Evan's mom came back into the room. And she sat there, and it was about 5:30 at this time, and I could feel him dropping. And so once he dropped on the way down, he hit the bone, okay, and that stuff hurts. And so around 5:30 that happened, and I just put some more medicine into my epidural catheter. So technically I had 4 catheters if you want to be technical, but I kept putting medicine in and it wasn't doing anything. I could just feel the cool air and hot air going onto my back from it, or the heating and cooling from it. But it wasn't doing anything anymore because he had dropped so low, and I said it's hurting so bad. Well, after that hour passed and it was getting really bad, they checked me again, and so they checked me. I went from a 1 to a 5.5 really fast, and then from a 6 to a 9 really fast. And so they called my doctor in and said that it was time. And so it's like 6:30 now. Okay, my doctor comes in, checks me, says you're only at a 9. I can try to stretch you. And I'm like, yeah, no, I'm fine. And she's like, okay, well, I'll be back. You're not even ready anyways. I was like, okay. She's like, I'm going to go get some pop. And I'm like, and I'm over here dying, okay? And she's like, I'm just going to go potty and get me some pop. Or no, she says I'm going to go get pop. And then she comes back and checks again, and I'm still not ready. She's like, I'm going to go potty. I'm like, okay. Yeah, whenever she comes back, she's like, you can push, you know. And I'm like, okay. This kid isn't going anywhere, okay? Like, nowhere at all. And she's trying to move him, and she's trying to, because at that time, I was only 9.5 whenever she's like, you can push, and I'm like, okay. So she pretty much had to stretch me to dilate me to a 10, which, actually, you don't feel it whenever you have a head, whenever your baby's crowning, actually. I'm sorry, guys. Whenever I'm speaking this stuff, I'm getting awkward. I don't even know why. I have no privacy. But so she says I'm gonna need a lot of what is it called? Mineral oil and something else because she was keeping me from tearing. And actually, I didn't even really tear that bad. I only had to have 2 stitches. And my son had a 14.5-inch head. Okay. So I kept saying, his head is huge. Yeah, his head was huge. He was only 6.5 pounds, and I'm sure, 3 pounds was in his head. And he was 18.5 inches long. But he wasn't an ugly baby when he was born. Let me show you. I have I don't have very many pictures from the birth because, well, his dad was standing right next to me. Supposedly I squeezed his hand, but I had no strength to do that. And they kept giving me oxygen because I couldn't breathe, actually. It was so bad, like, I couldn't breathe. When they say 1, 2, 3, push, and they count to 10, and they do that like 3 times, that's 30 seconds, plus you're getting 1 breath in between, you're not going to be able to breathe at all. Like, it was rough, but I got through it, and I didn't die, which I'm kind of glad I didn't die. I don't even know what month I'm in. This is November. So where's... I'm trying to think of where these pictures would be because I guess they're not on my phone. Let me check mine and my grandma's conversation. My grandma was in the room. She was actually getting scared because it took me an hour to push this humongous child out. They called my doctor in because she didn't know, or my okay, so I had a midwife, and I had an actual OB/GYN, and they called him. I had 2 OB/GYN and 4 midwives. They called, she called my OB/GYN and she said, sit right there. I don't know what's happening. I don't know if she can even deliver this baby naturally. Well, I said I'm going to do it. So I did it. Don't get me wrong. It was the roughest thing on earth. But I still did it. And it was an hour long. But I still did it. So, hey, I did it. No one can say I didn't do it because I did. Now, here's the thing, is I didn't get any stretch marks on my tummy. They're on my boobs, my thighs, my butt, and I have a stretch mark on my calf. Don't know how I got stretch marks on my calves, but I got stretch marks on my calves. So, I was pretty lucky because, for one, it was all baby, and I didn't have to worry about losing so much weight, but my sister kept swearing up and down that I'm going to never lose all this weight and I'm going to forever have it and stuff like that. But in reality, guys, I lost it all. And guys, I'm trying to find these pictures while I'm talking to you and I can't really multitask with them. But I'm going to find these pictures that were right after his birth because I want you guys to see he wasn't an ugly baby. Like, he didn't have all that blood and stuff like that. And he had the umbilical cord wrapped around his neck one time. Which, yeah, it's scary. But y'all want to know what else hurt, or why it was so hard for me to push him out? He came out with his hand over his face, like this. Okay. I don't even freaking know how I delivered that thing like that. But, I did. Proud of myself. And the epidural worked pretty well, and I won't say it didn't because it worked, for... I would say about 10 hours, and I guess you shouldn't have it 12 hours before you deliver, but I kind of had no choice. I was dying without it. But I still did it. Yeah, it was rough, but it was the best thing ever because, like, them immediately just pretty much throwing your kid on you, it's kind of awesome. Not gonna lie, yeah, you get scared at first because you kind of don't know, you don't remember anything. And while they were doing the stitches, while I was getting those 2 stitches, they were cleaning my baby up, okay? I was shaking so bad, like, I thought that she was going to script these stitches and I was going to be so mad, but she didn't script the stitches, which is a good thing, I'm glad. And, it was, I'm not going to say it was an easy birth because it wasn't. And if anything, it was like the hardest thing ever and it hurt really bad. But, yeah, here's one of the pictures. This is just of his hair. And this is what his whole body looked like, okay? He wasn't an ugly baby at all. This is him after, like, right after they cleaned him up and everything. It's so hard to find these pictures because I don't have it. Okay. I'll have to get it, but like this, no. That one's cute. I like that one. So Evan didn't get skin on skin, which I was kind of sad about, but that's okay. They still have an amazing bond. Don't mind me, guys. Don't judge me either. I just had the blanket and the gown going up to here because he was in my shirt or my gown for skin on skin. And guys, I don't breastfeed. So, but he wasn't an ugly baby, and you know, the day we left the hospital, I was so sad because him and I got everything we needed in there. Like, everyone took care of us. We didn't have to really do anything. And this was, well, when we were getting ready to leave, I gave him the pacifier, okay? This kid grabs my hand and says, "You're not leaving me." So at the hospital, I didn't feed him. I barely ever held him. And I don't know, I was actually, my body was still going through a shock. So I was still shaking really badly, and I didn't want to hurt him or drop him. So Evan left to get my sister one time, and he gave me the baby, and me and him fell asleep. You're not supposed to fall asleep whenever you're holding the baby in the hospital, especially because you can drop the baby onto the floor. Well, I didn't. I had my arms wrapped around him, nice and tight, and he fell asleep too. The nurses came in and said, "Can I still your baby for a little bit?" And I was like, "Yeah." Well, they went and did was the circumcision, or no, they did the 24-hour checkup. And he came back about 2 hours later, and they thought I was sleeping, so I had Evan go get him because I didn't even really get out of the hospital bed besides to go to the bathroom, and that I had to have help doing. And guys, I had hemorrhoids from the pushing, from having him. I was actually really swollen from the pushing from having him. I know you guys probably don't want to know that, but I'm going to share it anyways because that's what this is all about. But I'm not going to lie, it was an amazing experience, and to be honest, I'd probably do it all over again. But not right now. I love my kid to death, but that was rough. And I definitely want to wait until I'm out of high school. So, that's my labor and delivery. Labor sucks, by the way, guys, especially starting in your sleep. Actually, the Tuesday night, I didn't get any sleep before I had him. Neither did Evan. Well, he got like 2 hours sleep, and I got like an hour. But I slept most of the day because I needed my energy and everything like that. And delivering uses a lot of energy if you're doing it vaginally, especially. But also if you're having a C-section, because, well, you know, that's rough too. It takes longer to heal from a C-section, and because they're actually cutting your stomach and your uterus. So you're, after you have a C-section, most of the time they will not let you have they will not let you have a vaginal delivery because they are scared that your scar tissue is going to tear. Sorry about the background. I just realized I saw my TV playing. But, so they're scared that's going to happen. So I'm glad that I had him vaginally, but it was still painful. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and comment if you can. Have a wonderful evening, everyone. Talk to you later.